welcome back to another episode of Level Up. I am your hostess, Wendy Nolin. Can you believe we are halfway through our 7-week success series? Now, I know I've been a little bit casual. Hey, it's summertime. I am on vacation. I'm trying to be on vacation a little bit each day and really trying to spread out some fun throughout the summer. So let's get back to business. Week number 4 this week is the letter C in the word success. And this week is confidence. So week number 1, we talked about sense of direction and really knowing what it is that you want to achieve to be successful and what that looks like for you. Week number 2, I introduced our avatar, Robert, so that you can kind of follow along through a real world example. And in week number 2, Robert had to learn sense of urgency and having jet fuel running through his veins and really having the drive to get out of bed every day and work towards achieving his goals. Last week, week number 3, Robert learned what the difference was between 99% commitment and 100% commitment. And hint, it's not 1%. If you haven't watched the videos or haven't been reading the blog posts, I strongly suggest that you read each and every one of the blog posts in the series. There's a lot more in the blog than there is in the video. Okay, so let's get down to week number 4. This week is confidence. So have you ever had a time where your confidence has wavered? Sure, who hasn't? Oh my gosh, even I do. Even Robert, our avatar, did. In fact, this week, he had a pretty big challenge occur in his business, and he describes it as going into his dark place. Now, you probably have had that experience, right? You know what it's like to go into that dark place. It's depression, it's anxiety, it's, fear. And what it does is it causes us to become small and hold things in. But even successful people have that happen. So how are they still successful and how do they get out of it? Well, I'm going to tell you. What they do is what my friend Loren calls boot camping. Not bootstrapping, it's boot camping. So let me tell you her story real quick to help illustrate. Loren and her family of 6 have been working towards, for many, many years, the ability to sail around the world. That's right. All 6 of them, her husband, and her 4 kids, sailing around the world. Now, this was about a decade ago when I first heard about this. And they did it. Well, they almost did it. Here's the truth. What happened was they bought their sailboat. They took off, refurbished it, and then took off from the Caribbean and sailed all through the Caribbean islands. And then they sailed all up and down the eastern seaboard of the United States. Then a few things happened that caused them to not be able to finish the trip around the world. But what they did do was they sailed through the Caribbean and the eastern seaboard for like 3 or 4 years. How amazing is that? Okay, so what's boot camping? Loren describes it like this. When she came back to Austin, Texas, and told people about the horrendous storms and, the really difficult weather that they had to sail through, they said, "Oh, I bet you were praying when that happened." She says, "You don't have time to pray. You have to be in motion. You have to pray before you even get out there." She calls that boot camping. Boot camp through life. That means prepare with the basic skills. Know what you need to do before you get yourself into a situation where you need to act quickly. Successful people do that. They boot camp. They are prepared in advance for the possibility that something might go wrong. They realize that not every day is going to be a boom day in business. There are a lot of bust days in business, and there are a lot of days when doors are slammed in their face and things don't go the way they wanted them to. So how do they pick themselves up and keep going and achieve the success that they have set out to success? They have that internal strength of confidence because they believe in themselves. They know that they know that they know that they're going to be successful no matter what because they believe in themselves. When something goes wrong, something doesn't work out the way they intended, they pick themselves up and they go back to doing what they know they need to do in order to be successful. Our avatar Robert did the same thing. He realized when he was in that dark place that he discovered there's a 1-to-1 correlation between his confidence and doing the things that he knows he needs to do to be successful. Now, every successful person that I've ever spoken to, that I've ever worked with, that I've ever coached to be successful had that one common factor. They had boot camping basic skills. Some people have a practice or a ritual or a daily routine. If you don't have some sort of a daily routine, some sort of a practice, a ritual, or boot camp skills before you go out into battle every day or before you go sailing through the storms, you're going to find yourself in a situation where your confidence gets beat up and it's hard to come back from that. If you don't have a practice, if you don't have that routine down, and you don't have those boot camping skills to get back that confidence, I suggest that you adopt a ritual, a habit, a routine, some sort of daily hour of power to fortify your mind, your body, your spirit, your business, and your relationships so that you can continue to move forward towards achieving that success. I recommend starting with the book, The Miracle Morning by Hal Elrod. It's something that I've referenced quite frequently in many of my blog posts. And so I suggest that you take a look at that book. Start there. All right. That is, let me wrap up this week's episode of Level Up, our 7-week success series. This was week number 4 on confidence. Make sure that you visit my website and subscribe to my blog. It's wendynolin.com/blog. And when you subscribe, you'll receive a free copy of my first book, The Top 10 Best Investments in Yourself, as my way of saying thank you. Also, I would love it if you're watching this video on Facebook, go ahead and give me a thumbs up if you liked it and if you thought it was interesting and valuable, and please share it. If you're on my YouTube channel, go ahead and click subscribe now. Also, +1 me on Google. Watch my videos, of course, on YouTube. Connect with me on LinkedIn. Follow me on Twitter. And I believe I'm on Pinterest as well. That's where I post a lot of my blogs and books that I'm reading. So that's it for this week's episode of Level Up. I am your hostess, Wendy Nolin. I'd love to see you again next week when we talk about the letter E in our 7-week success series. It stands for, you're going to have to come back and listen next week. Also, make sure you're reading the blog posts to follow along. There's a lot more value and content in the blog post. All right, that's it for this episode. This is Wendy Nolin signing off. I will see you on the flip side.